This evening, government invites bids for major sea defense work and road rehabilitation projects. GDF Coast Guard rescues 6 fishermen in successful search and rescue operation. Ministry advances fight against cervical cancer in Guyana. In the region, Caribbean region faces increasing drought risks as dry season begins, and internationally, State of the Union address, Biden touts U.S. economic progress. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Updates. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the government of Guyana is ramping up its infrastructure development with a significant investment in sea defenses in the regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. The Public Works Ministry has extended an invitation for bids on several sea defense works days after the approval of a $781.9 billion budget, with a large portion, $136 billion, allocated for infrastructure projects. Bids for the sea defense works, divided into 25 lots, will be opened on February 15, 2023 at the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board Office. The development and maintenance of these defenses are crucial for the protection of residents and agricultural lands, as well as for preserving Guyana's agricultural yield. The government has also extended an invitation for bids for the rehabilitation of public roads in regions 3 and 6, with bids to be opened on March 1, 2023. Also making the headlines, the Guyana Defense Force Coast Guard conducted a 2-day search and rescue operation that ended successfully on February 6, 2023. The operation was launched on February 4th after receiving a distress report about a fishing vessel that lost propulsion near Iron Pond in the Atlantic Ocean. During the search operation, 3 vessels were deployed, and debris from the vessel, including an icebox, was found at the foreshore of Iron Pond, suggesting that the vessel had sunk. The Coast Guard continued the search on Sunday with the help of a civilian vessel and eventually rescued 6 fishermen who had swum to shore. The fishermen reported that the vessel sank on February 2nd, and they managed to swim to shore and were rescued some 20 miles west of the wreckage site. The fishermen were then transported to the Coast Guard headquarters, where they were reunited with their families. The Guyana Defense Force Coast Guards remind mariners to ensure the proper inspection and maintenance of their vessels and engines before going to sea, and to offer assistance to any vessel in distress as per the law and regulations. In other developments, the Ministry of Health is intensifying its efforts to fight cervical cancer as part of a broader program to combat non-communicable diseases in the country. Cervical cancer is the second leading cancer affecting women in Guyana, and the ministry is continuing to spread awareness and provide human papillomavirus vaccines. According to Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony, the ministry has allocated $22.6 million in the 2023 budget to tackle cervical cancer. The budget will cover visual inspection with acetic acid and human papillomavirus screening, as well as distribution of 20 cryotherapy machines to various regions to aid in treating the disease. Additionally, $6 million has been set aside to assist persons with kidney diseases, $82.7 million to provide insulin for diabetic patients, and $12.9 million for respiratory management for COVID-19 patients. The minister also mentioned that 183 children with type 1 diabetes would receive insulin. Apart from non-communicable diseases, the allocation of $23 million will also benefit persons with disabilities who will receive free hearing aids. Wheelchairs, clutches, and offloading footwear will also be purchased for diabetic patients. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health continues proactive measures to tackle cervical cancer and support those dealing with the long-term effects of COVID-19 and other non-communicable diseases. Don't go way up to the break. Rice farmers raise concerns over high spare part prices in meeting with Agricultural Minister, and GCOM approves work plan for conduct of local government elections.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Give your home or office some shine. Fortune Investment Company. We provide reliable commercial and residential professional cleaning services in Guyana. We clean homes and commercial offices. Other services offered are floor care and tile polishing, interior auto detailing services, power washing, weeding and cleaning, and carpet, couch, and mattress cleaning. We are committed to keeping your homes and offices squeaky clean. Call us now at 592-689-7558 or 592-639-6365 or visit us at 3430 Jackson North Rumville, Georgetown, Guyana. Fortune Investment Company. When we say clean, we mean spotless.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Welcome back. In a tragic incident, a 24-year-old man from Currentine Berbice lost his life in a motorcycle accident. Colin Anthony Scott of Limlar Village was riding his motorcycle along the southern lane of the Achulin Public Road at a fast rate of speed when he crashed into a parked lorry. The accident took place a little after 6 a.m. this morning, Wednesday, February 8th. According to police sources, Scott lost control of his motorcycle and hit the lorry, causing him to be flung from the bike and fell onto the road. He sustained multiple injuries and was taken to the Port Morant Public Hospital where he was declared dead. The motorcycle was badly damaged and fragments were scattered across the road. The public is urged to exercise caution while on the roads and to follow traffic regulations to prevent similar incidents. In other news, on Tuesday, rice farmers from regions 2, 3, 5, and 6 met with Agricultural Minister Zulfikar Mustafa to discuss some of the issues faced in the industry, while noting that most of their issues result from unfavorable weather and external economic impacts. The farmers have expressed concerns over the high prices of spare parts and call on the government to intervene. The farmers also noted that despite the government's removal of VAT on spare parts, prices are still high and rising. The farmers also requested an across-the-board price for paddy, but the minister explained that this cannot be instituted due to the transportation costs being a significant factor in determining the price of paddy in different regions. Minister Mustafa assured the farmers that the government would engage the Guyana Revenue Authority on the matter of high prices for spare parts and reminded them of the various measures the government has taken to assist the agricultural sector. In other developments, the Guyana Elections Commission has issued a press release stating that at its statutory meeting on Tuesday, February 7th, they have approved the work plan for the conduct of local government elections. In this regard, the Secretariat will proceed with the full implementation of the relevant statutory and administrative activities to ensure the successful conduct of the elections in the 80 local authorities area countrywide. Going forward, GCOM Secretariat will immediately move to roll out a robust civic and voter education program, appoint electoral registrars and assistant electoral registrars, and extract the preliminary list of voters. These activities are directly linked to the preparation of registrars of voters for each of the 80 local authority areas. Preparation for the conduct of local government elections commenced in 2022. In this regard, the GCOM Secretariat has already completed the training of management and polling day staff for all of the local authority areas and the receipt of applications for the approval of symbols submitted by political parties, voluntary groups, and individuals who intend to contest in the elections. Don't go away after the break. Emergency response in Turkey. Volunteers join earthquake aid efforts, and North Korea Army to mark 75 years since founding with military parade.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Cab Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Give your home or office some shine. Fortune Investment Company. We provide reliable commercial and residential professional cleaning services in Guyana. We clean homes and commercial offices. Other services offered are floor care and tile polishing, interior auto detailing services, power washing, weeding and cleaning, and carpet, couch, and mattress cleaning. We are committed to keeping your homes and offices squeaky clean. Call us now at 592-689-7558 or 592-639-6365 or visit us at 3430 Jackson North Rumville, Georgetown, Guyana. Fortune Investment Company. When we say clean, we mean spotless.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Drought conditions are expected to worsen in the Caribbean region as the dry season begins, according to the Caribbean Drought and Precipitation Monitoring Network. In its latest Caribbean drought bulletin, the network warned that rainfall will continue to decrease in the region, particularly in the northwest, leading to normal to below normal rainfall from February to April 2023. As a result, areas including Cuba, Hispaniola, parts of the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, and St. Vincent could face short and long-term drought by the end of April and May. The network advised all stakeholders to closely monitor their water resources and be aware of the potential for drought. Meanwhile, during his State of the Union address, U.S. President Joe Biden has urged Congress to work with him. With Republicans now in control of the House of Representatives, Biden called for unity and took credit for an improving economy. Al Jazeera's White House correspondent Kimberly Hackett reports.
With his approval rating still among some of the lowest of his presidency, Joe Biden delivered his second State of the Union address. And despite still soaring high inflation, Biden declared,
"The backbone of this nation is strong."
Millions tuned in to watch Biden, who used his speech to highlight what he sees as his successes of the past 2 years.
The unemployment rate is at 3.4%, a 50-year low. Near record unemployment for black and Hispanic workers. We've already created, with your help, 800,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs, the fastest growth in 40 years.
But this State of the Union was different from Biden's last. This time, the Democratic president spoke to a divided Congress as he made the case for raising America's debt ceiling and protecting social programs from spending cuts. He was challenged by Republican lawmakers.
That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see.
Unfazed by the criticism, Biden sought to bridge Washington's political divide, turning to his opponents and using the speech to negotiate with them directly.
Let's stand up for seniors.
Biden also honored Tyree Nichols, the 29-year-old man beaten by Memphis police officers. As Nichols' mother and stepfather looked on, Biden urged Congress to invest more in police training.
Something good must come from this.
Codifying women's rights to an abortion was another priority.
Make no mistake about it. If Congress passes a national ban, I will veto it.
While Biden's speech focused mainly on domestic policy, he once again underscored America's support for Ukraine. And following the downing of a Chinese spy balloon after it crossed the United States, he issued this warning.
As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did.
But Republicans had their own rebuttal.
From out-of-control inflation and violent crime to the dangerous border crisis and threat from China, Biden and the Democrats have failed you.
President Biden used his address to reflect on his accomplishments and lay out his agenda for another term in office. It's been widely reported that Biden's senior aides are preparing for the president to announce his re-election bid sometime later this month. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, Capitol Hill.
Internationally, preparations for a major parade are believed to be underway in North Korea to mark the founding of its army 75 years ago. Pyongyang usually chooses significant anniversaries to show off its latest weaponry and send a defined message to the rest of the world. Al Jazeera's Rob McBride reports.
Satellite images appear to confirm rehearsals have been taking place for a major set-piece parade. Pyongyang is used to such events, and the next is expected to be held after an unprecedented series of about 80 ballistic missile launches in 2022. Leader Kim Jong-un seems as determined as ever to develop longer-range intercontinental missiles, while also acquiring an arsenal of shorter-range tactical weapons that threaten his neighbors, including South Korea.
And they want to show the world, of course, the Korea and US, that their tactical nuclear capability is real and it can operate in any situation.
The increased threat has led the US to renew assurances to South Korea that it will use its nuclear umbrella to protect the country. But it's also raised the question of whether Seoul itself should become nuclear armed. Amid the escalating tensions, North Korea has stopped short of conducting another nuclear test that was widely anticipated throughout 2022. That, it seems, would have been a provocation too far, especially for powerful neighbour China. Shortages of food and other goods, made worse by self-imposed isolation through the pandemic, means North Korea is more reliant than ever on Chinese aid.
북한이 코로나도 극복하고
The only way for North Korea to overcome the pandemic and its economic crisis is to get more support from China. So for Kim Jong-un, the threat of a seventh nuclear test is very important leverage that he can use.
In December, North Korea flew drones into South Korea, leading to speculation the North could conduct other types of attacks in the coming year to undermine the South.
There's a whole lot of series of provocation North Korea can do, including the cyber attacks and other cognitive warfare to shaken the Korean public.
North Korea seemingly intent on another year of defiant military posturing, and the South preparing to deal with the consequences. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Seoul.
And finally, thousands of people across Turkey have joined aid efforts to help ease the plight of earthquake survivors. Al Jazeera's Natasha Goniem reports.
The pace has been unrelenting at this emergency distribution center in Istanbul. These volunteers know time is of the essence for their suffering fellow Turks.
I have to be here. I cannot stay at home. It feels really awful to watch the news from TV. I just need to be here to help the people.
There is unity, resolve, and an understanding that this humanitarian effort will take on historic proportions. It will also be costly. President Erdogan has allocated more than $5 billion to help the country recover from what could emerge to be the worst natural disaster in 2 generations.
Our prayers are with them. Our hopes are with them. So we are working with the volunteers with all our strength. And people of Istanbul never let us down with the solidarity.
President Erdogan has declared a 1-week period of national mourning, and schools have been closed.
The current situation requires us to take extraordinary measures. We declare our 10 provinces where the earthquake took place as disaster zones. We decided to declare a state of emergency so that the search and rescue activities and all subsequent works can be carried out rapidly.
The state of emergency will end shortly before the presidential and parliamentary elections scheduled on May 14th. Inflation in Turkey is 80%, and critics say government policy is exacerbating the country's economic woes. The earthquake zone in southern Turkey is home to a significant Syrian refugee population. Right-wing parties are calling them a burden on an already overtaxed economy. In the ruins of homes and amid the mourning of loved ones lost, there is no distinction between citizen or refugee, just a human being in need of immediate help and compassion. Natasha Ganem, Al Jazeera, Istanbul.
This has brought us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. concludes today's Headline News Update. Tune in tomorrow, Thursday, 7 p.m. with our next broadcast. For more news and updates, you can visit our Facebook and YouTube pages. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.